Ah, man. 2020. What are we going to remember from this year? Well, this was a crappy year. In a way, I'd already decided that this year I'm going to give my QuickBooks to my accountant. And every year he always tells me, well, you did good with this, you did bad with this, but you made more money, blah, blah, blah. I just don't want him to tell me anything this year. Just do my taxes, get it over with. But actually, how was your year? Where are you? Let me know in the comment section. What country are you in? And how did this whole year pan out for you? And so I am an eternal optimist, or at least sometimes I try to be. And so I actually remember watching a video that earlier this year by another cyclist, Phil Gaiman, and he actually made a statement that really kind of rang true to me. And he said, if you don't come out of this pandemic with a six-pack, then you did the pandemic wrong. And I thought, okay, game on. So I actually made a list of things. I tried to look for the positive, and what I do at the end of each year, and I suggest you do the same if you're so inclined, is review your year and what you did right. Don't worry about the things that you did wrong. A lot of people will say you need to find out what you did wrong and you need to correct those mistakes, and I don't usually find that beneficial. I end up understanding why people drink. What did you do right? So here's what happened to me this year. Because of the pandemic, there were quite a bit of weeks and a couple months where we were kind of out of business, and I still had to pay rent, but you know, government stepped in and subsidized us, and I can understand why people would want to live off the government paycheck, because I hate to say it, but quite frankly, it was freaking awesome. I didn't have to come to work, and the government paid my rent, and I just had a good time. So on Strava, I normally do I ended up doing about 6,300 miles this year, so 10,000 kilometers for people in Europe. And I started realizing that there were no people coming in. People weren't coming in. I had all this time to my hands, so I just rode my bike. And I did a number of rides. Because I wasn't riding with groups, I ended up doing quite a bit of very cool rides. Because I wasn't limited to riding with a bunch of people, I could ride anywhere I wanted. So I made a list. I looked through my Strava and I made a list. I did a place that I never would normally ride, Dos Vientos. I did Puerco Canyon, which I'll put a link down below if you want to see these things. I went out one day and I was going to do Puerco Canyon, and it was 3 or 4 days after rain, and I thought it would be fine, and it turned out I had to abandon the race. I literally ended up having to hike my bike up a hill. I didn't know where I was. Glad I got back. And I ended up doing a rock store, which was freaking awesome. So there's a link down below in the description. And then I decided that, no, I want to do this ride. So I waited for some period of time, and like 3 or 4 weeks later, I ended up doing Puerco Canyon, which if I had cell phone service and enough money, I would have called to have them airlift me out. That was one of the freaking hardest rides I've done this year. I did 2 centuries this year, and they were nowhere near as hard as the 32 miles that I did on Puerco Canyon. It was so steep. I did 58,000 feet of climbing in like 32 miles. It was insane. And I made a video of that. That was cool. Now that I look back, it was actually kind of a fun thing, but no, it wasn't. It was awful. So I had a great time. I also took the train. Just on some day I took the train. I got up at like 4:30 in the morning. It was pitch black. I bought a ticket for the train. I took a train up to Santa Barbara and rode my bike home. I mean, that was cool. So I made a video about that one. I did a lot of rides this year where there were simply no cars on the street, and it was flippin' awesome. You'd be riding in the bike lane, and if there was one car at most, people would go way around you because they were afraid that you were gonna give them coke. And I shouldn't say that word, the virus that shall not be named. I don't want to get demonetized. So I did that. There were some days when I went out and I did a bike ride early in the morning, hoping I'd be busy later, and then I wasn't busy later, so I rode again. I did that numerous times. I did like 2 bike rides in a day. I did Piuma and Stunt, did a video on that. I convinced 2 guys to go with me to Santa Barbara, and I had this route outlined, and it was supposed to be the most beautiful locations of Santa Barbara. And I went with Daniel, another guy, and it turned out I made a couple wrong turns. The hills were steeper than I anticipated. They started getting a little pissed, and I could sense that they were kind of done with the ride. So we cut the ride short, and that's in the description. And then I did not make a video about this, but I went back a couple months ago, and I decided to do the route by myself. And it was 75 miles, and it was basically all hills. And I remember I got to about mile 50, and I realized, wow, I'm far away. This is gonna be a tough ride home. I got back, right as I got back to my car, I actually thought to myself, I don't think I could turn the pedal over one more time. And that was a great ride. I also did another ride that was fun. I started at Bates Road, and I rode all the way up to the Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara. I rode all the way up to Ritz-Carlton. They didn't want me in there. But it was a cool place. And that was just a freaking great ride. My best friend Matt got a cyclocross bike or a gravel bike, and we rode up to the Hollywood Hills. We rode to the Hollywood sign. All the descriptions are down below, blah, blah, blah. I did a number of rides over 70 miles, which I don't normally do because there's just no time. And I rode through Ojai, and I did, like I said, I did 2 centuries this year, which normally I just don't have the time to do. And so this was the worst of the year, but it was the best of the year. I have to say, I had a great year. I'm broke, didn't get paid a lot, but I'm still in business. I'm still rocking it, still seeing patients, still helping people. I still focus on technique and try to get the best out of myself, chiropractic wise, and try to do the best for patients. But the guy at the bike shop, the local bike shop here, he sold out of bikes, and as of yet, I still don't have new gravel tires. I ordered new gravel tires from Specialized 6 months ago, and because of this whole crap, I still don't have tires, so I'm still got on my cyclocross bike road tires. But he sold out on all bikes. He's doing service on bikes like crazy. He actually said, and I don't take this wrong, and we don't want to continue. We don't want people to die. We don't want people to get sick. So get that, so don't take this wrong. But he actually said this, and I kind of thought it too, is this was actually the greatest year. We could do this again. Let's say every 3 years, we could just have a total meltdown where people get afraid and nobody's driving their cars, and we're just out there riding our bikes and selling bikes and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good year for me. So let me know in the comments how year 2020 was for you. Hopefully let's make 2021 even better without so many people getting sick. That would be ideal. And I hope I don't have to be subsidized again. I kind of liked it, but it's wrong. So I don't want to do that again. But I do appreciate them for you know, giving it to me.